From Avatar to the tar sands, James Cameron joins the First Nations of Canada in calling for an end to the predatory insanity of an ecological, human rights, and industrial disaster in the making. Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, September 29th, 2010.
Okay. Well, allow me to introduce then our next speaker, our first speaker, who is former chief of Mikisew Cree First Nation, George Poitras. He'll be, I'll invite you to speak right now.
Thank you, Mr. Cameron, and thank you, National Chief. Thank you, Clayton, and thank you, Francois, for that invitation. First of all, I'd like to dedicate my presentation today to the past and present leadership of Fort Chipewyan, who have for decades voiced their concerns related to industrial development and its subsequent impacts. Dedicated also to the many women, men, and youth who have succumbed to the unprecedented, rare, and aggressive cancers in Fort Chipewyan. My small community of 1,200 people is located approximately 250 kilometers downstream from Alberta's tar sands. Many of our people characterize today the location of the tar sands as unfortunate or even a curse. A curse primarily because of the proven impact, signs, health issues, yet little to nothing is done to address these by those responsible authorities. If our situation today occurred in the developing world, in the third world, this may be accepted, however wrong it is. But this is occurring in Canada, one of the world's wealthiest and developed countries, a country that prides itself in addressing human rights. As for my community of Fort Chipewyan, our governments instead continue, as recently as yesterday, to espouse that they must ensure that the public discussion about the oil sands has balance. Or that of the Premier of Alberta said yesterday, my job is to advocate for Albertans. As residents of Fort Chipewyan, are we not Albertans? But worse and more disgraceful is the Government of Canada's outright dismissal of health and cancer claims in my community, and takes the unprecedented step of lodging complaints against our doctor, Dr. John O'Connor, for causing undue alarm to my community. This action, rather than any of these governments coming to the aid of my community to at least find substance to the claims, and if there was in fact a problem, to assist in finding resolutions. The industry is also complicit in these less than stellar actions for never once championing advancing the critical issues, but rather who choose to hide behind and echo the government's position. And more shameful, they have recently been flexing their strength against anyone, including myself and the chiefs, for vocalizing our concerns. Since then, my community has been labeled alarmists, to just more Indians out for a buck, borderline racist, and clearly discriminatory. Fort Chipewyan has demonstrated leadership in making this industry more accountable, more responsible. We have priority rights as demonstrated in the Mikisew Cree Supreme Court of Canada decision of 2005. We have been here for thousands of years, and we will remain here for thousands of years. We will not go away, and we will not let this industry continue to self-regulate, and we will not allow the government of Alberta to continue to relinquish its responsibility in managing this industry. And we will continue to challenge this issue, and by all accounts, we're not losing this public relations battle, as the government and tar sands industry prefer to call it. Finally, not in my own words, but in the words of a Fort Chipewyan community resident who said to Mr. Cameron just yesterday, "Thank you for visiting our community of Fort Chipewyan and showing leadership and wanting to learn and support our community, because it's more than we've ever seen by the government of Alberta." So thank you.
Thank you, George Poitras.